I have started a new channel called Lanila Tales. Please subscribe and watch my best stories there. Link is in the description. They said the wall would never fall. They said the alien warlords would never break through. They said humanity had a chance, until 10 seconds ago when a flaming starship crashed across the battlefield like a drunk meteor and everyone realized two things. 1. The enemy was already inside. 2. That falling ship belonged to Rhea Solara, the only pilot crazy enough to try flying through a war. The burning wreck screeched across shattered concrete in what used to be New Avalon Plaza, leaving a blazing trail behind it. When the debris stopped moving, the wreckage hissed and groaned. Flames burst. Smoke churned. For a moment, nothing moved. Then a voice coughed from inside. Well, that could have gone slightly worse. Panels groaned and bent outward as a figure forced her way free of twisted metal. Rhea Solara staggered out of the wreck, goggles cracked, jacket singed, hair smoking a little. She gave the wreckage a look of tired insult. That is the last time I trust a retired smuggler when he says a ship flies smooth. That thing handled like a refrigerator wearing roller skates. Above her, the sky tore open again as alien dread cannons hurled energy meteors into what remained of the city. The last defensive shield, known as the Wall of Earth, had been shattered minutes ago by the warlords of the Zorvath Dominion. The wall had glowed once, a radiant barrier of energy that stretched around Earth like a guardian halo. Now it was gone. The sky was burning red and black. "The war is over," said a voice on the emergency channel. It was Commander Kale Draven, leader of the last resistance stronghold. He sounded controlled but hollow, like a man holding back grief by force. All remaining units fall back to New Avalon Command. Evacuation Protocol Omega-7. Save who you can. Save who you can usually meant save no one. Rhea tapped her comm but only static hissed. Figures. Nothing ever worked during the apocalypse. She scanned the plaza. Bodies lay everywhere, human soldiers mixed with reptilian Zorvath troopers. The plaza had been a symbol of peace once. Children laughed here. Couples met here. Now it was smoke and silence. Then the silence broke. The storm came. From the west side street marched a full battalion of Zorvath warlords, armor like obsidian bone, weapons humming with violet energy. At their front strode the largest of them all, Zixer the Devourer, the conqueror of 9 planets. He wore a cloak of starwolf fur and his claws dripped with liquid metal. His eyes burned with inhuman rage. "Earthlings," he roared in a scraping voice. "Kneel and die or stand and suffer first." Rhea muttered a curse. She scanned for cover and found only ruins. She drew her pulse pistol, knowing full well it would not matter. She had about 6 shots left, 1 bad temper, and 0 survival plan. Somewhere in the middle of this disaster, a small metallic shape buzzed past her ear. A cube-shaped bot hovered shakily in the air, twitching. "Pix," she blinked. "How are you still alive? We crashed through a plasma storm and an alien blockade." The tiny AI bot flickered. "Statistically speaking, we should be dead." Its voice glitched. Optimism mode engaged. "Everything is completely and utterly hopeless. We will perish shortly. Probably with regret." Comforting as always, she muttered. The enemy moved in. The Zorvath aimed plasma spears. Rhea ducked behind fallen stone, expecting the end. But before they fired, something strange happened. The ground trembled. A pressure wave rippled through the plaza like the heartbeat of a giant. Then a shape stepped out of the smoke. Massive. Armored. Unstoppable. He looked human, but not quite. His armor was black obsidian mixed with titanium alloy, and his visor glowed faint neon blue. Each step he took cracked pavement. Energy rippled around him, as if the air itself feared to touch him. Rhea stared. What in the stars is that? The Zorvath fired on him instantly. Plasma bolts hammered his chest, but he did not stop. Rockets slammed into him and exploded. When the smoke cleared, he remained. Barely scorched. Still walking. "Impossible," whispered a Zorvath soldier. Zixer himself stepped forward to test the intruder. He hurled a cosmic war axe with crushing force. The armored stranger caught it in one hand. He broke it in half. The battlefield froze. Then chaos exploded. The armored giant surged forward, moving with impossible speed. He tore through Zorvath warlords like paper, striking with brutal precision. Soldiers flew. Armor shattered. Plasma burned. Rhea watched in disbelief. He fought like no human. More like a storm disguised as a man. "Who is he?" she whispered. The battle became a massacre. The giant moved like fate itself had taken a side. In less than a minute, the Zorvath battalion lay ruined across the plaza. Only Zixer remained. He roared and opened a portal behind him with forbidden tech. "We will meet again, Juggernaut," he hissed, stepping backward into the void. "This galaxy will fall and you will fall with it." The portal closed. The warlord vanished. "Juggernaut," Rhea echoed. The armored figure stood among wreckage and silence. He did not speak. He did not move. Only his visor shifted, turning toward Rhea. For a long moment neither moved. He studied her. She didn't know how she could tell, but she sensed he was searching her soul somehow. Measuring her worth. Pix trembled behind Rhea. Suggestion. "Do not anger the giant death robot." Rhea stepped forward anyway. Somehow, she felt drawn to him. "Hey. Thanks for saving us back there." She hesitated. "You got a name?" The armored head tilted. The voice that came was deep, human, but distant like it traveled through time itself. "What?" That was all he said. Not quite friendly. Not quite hostile. Just an order. Walk where she asked. He turned away, already moving toward the remains of the fallen city. Through war. Through fire. Through smoke. Walking like nothing could stand in his way. Commander Kale Draven arrived moments later with a small squad of survivors. His eyes widened at the destruction left behind, then locked on the Juggernaut. He approached Rhea. "Is that thing with you?" he asked. "I was about to ask you the same thing," she replied. Kale watched the Juggernaut's disappearing form. Whoever he is, he just saved Earth's last hope of evacuation. So for now, he stays alive. But keep your guard up. We do not know what he is. Rhea nodded, but she already knew one thing. Whoever the Juggernaut was, he had just changed the war. Because he did not just walk through the smoke. He came from it. And whatever hunted him was far worse than anything humanity had faced before. The end of the world might have just gotten a new beginning. Commander Kale Draven did not like mysteries, and the Juggernaut was a walking one. The evacuation convoy moved north through the ruins of New Avalon while the sky still bled fire. Columns of smoke stretched across the broken city like black scars, and the last survivors of Earth staggered through rubble toward the final evacuation point at Mount Helios. That was where the last starships were waiting for desperate refugees. Maybe hundreds of people left. Maybe less. All that remained of humanity. And somewhere in that collapsing world walked the man or thing that had shattered an army in seconds. The Juggernaut walked ahead of everyone, silent and unstoppable, like he was following a path only he could see. He said no words. He answered no questions. But people followed him, not because they trusted him, but because even in despair, hope sometimes wore iron boot. Rhea walked near him, wondering for the 10th time if she had finally lost her mind. A man appears from nowhere, annihilates an alien army alone, and walks off into the ruins like it is a casual stroll. Totally normal day. Definitely no concerns here. Pix buzzed at her shoulder, twitching in and out of power-saving mode. Pix did not trust the Juggernaut. Then again, Pix did not trust electricity. The survivors marched in worn silence through burned streets. Somewhere nearby a skyscraper collapsed in slow agony, raining debris across the skyline. The air was thick with the smell of ozone and burning metal. Kale moved alongside Rhea, scanning surroundings with a soldier's instinct. He was tall, grim, and tense, a man built by war. He eyed the Juggernaut again. Still nothing. "He has not said a word since he told us to walk," Kale muttered. "Does he even understand us?" Rhea shrugged. Maybe he is shy. The man just punched through a tank, Kale replied. I doubt shyness is his top emotional struggle. They pushed forward into the remains of the industrial sector. At least 40 survivors were spread across the convoy, some limping, some carrying injured relatives. Children walked with wide eyes, silent with trauma. No one cried anymore. The world had run out of tears. Suddenly the Juggernaut stopped. Kale froze. Everyone else stumbled to a halt. Why did he stop? I do not know, Rhea said. Maybe he found a sandwich. Something rattled beneath the ground. A faint hum pulsed in the air. Then a pulse ripple flashed across the road, and the ground shattered beneath the convoy. Ambush, shouted one of the soldiers. A blast of violet plasma tore through the street as Zorvath drop drones burst from underground tunnels. Metal pods erupted from the pavement, unfolding like mechanical spiders and firing particle cannons in every direction. Chaos exploded. Civilians screamed. Energy bolts tore through debris. Kale drew his rifle and opened fire. Take cover and return fire. Move, move, move. Rhea shoved 2 children behind cover and ducked beside a fallen transport. A drone turned and locked target on her. The cannon charged. Pix screamed in mechanical terror. Rhea raised her pistol, knowing it would not fire fast enough. But the cannon never fired. The Juggernaut crashed into the drone like a meteor and ripped it in half. More drones opened fire, surrounding him in a circle. He did not move. They fired everything they had. The explosions lit up the ruins. When the smoke cleared, the Juggernaut was gone. He was behind them. He tore through the drones with brutal efficiency, grabbing one by the legs and smashing it into another like a toy. Rhea fired at drones on rooftops while Kale covered her flank. Survivors ran for their lives. The drones suddenly changed pattern. They were not trying to kill everyone. They were trying to capture them. Stun blasts. Paralysis nets. The drones were ordered to collect humans, not execute them. The Zorvath were taking prisoners. Kale realized it too late. The drones dropped paralyzing gas that choked 5 survivors into unconsciousness. They were dragged toward open hatches in drone pods. Rhea charged forward and blasted the nets, trying to free them. Kale joined her. The Juggernaut smashed a dozen more drones, but more kept coming. They were being overrun. Then Kale saw him. High above on a crumbling tower stood a silver-cloaked figure watching them. He wore no armor, but his posture was sharp and predatory. He flicked his wrist once and the drones slowed, then reformed into a tighter capture formation. He was controlling them. Kale felt a chill run through him. We have a commander on field. Rhea followed Kale's gaze. Who is that? Pix scanned and beeped. Identity match found. Zorvath War Marshal Tavarak Prime. Bounty value unlisted because no one has dared to try collecting it. Tavarak raised his hand. The drones froze. The battlefield went dead silent. Strange. He was not threatening them. Not taunting them. He was studying someone. The Juggernaut. Tavarak spoke with a cold smile. The last artifact of the old war. The silent fury of the lost age. The Juggernaut still lives. Kale frowned. Old war? What old war? We have only been fighting Zorvath a few months. Rhea shook her head. And how does he know the Juggernaut? Juggernaut did not look at Tavarak. He did not react. He simply stood still. Tavarak continued. Zixer was right to fear you. But I do not fear ghosts. He snapped his fingers. The ground shook again. Something massive drilled upward from the earth behind Tavarak. Metal, claws, engines. A war machine emerged, rising like a steel demon from the underworld. It was a mech. A colossal, towering Zorvath Warden Titan armed with tricannons and plasma drills. It aimed all weapons at the Juggernaut. Run! Kale yelled as the Titan opened fire. The plasma blast obliterated the road. Rhea was thrown through the air. Kale shielded 3 survivors from debris. The Juggernaut vanished again in the explosion. When the fire cleared, he was halfway up the Titan, climbing it with bare hands. He drove his fist into the mech's armor, tearing through plates. The Titan swung wildly, trying to shake him off. The Juggernaut reached its head, grabbed the cannon core and ripped it out. The Titan fell. Tavarak stepped back but did not run. He seemed amused. Excellent. You have not grown weak. That will make your capture worthwhile. He pressed a device on his arm. A shockwave pulse triggered beneath the Juggernaut. He staggered for the first time. His armor flickered. Rhea froze. Juggernaut was not invincible after all. Kale grabbed Rhea. We have to go. Now the Juggernaut straightened again, but more drones swarmed him with stun chains glowing with blue crackling power. He ripped several off, but then Tavarak fired a beam from his gauntlet. The beam was not energy. It was some kind of null wave that disrupted the Juggernaut's suit. His movements slowed. That armor was not just armor. It needed power. Without power it could be broken. Pix screamed. They are going to take him, they want him alive, Kale cursed. But why? Rhea's eyes lit with realization. He is not just a fighter. He knows something. Something they want. Kale nodded. Then we cannot let them take him. Move. Rhea charged without hesitation. Kale covered her again. They fought toward the Juggernaut, who was on one knee still tearing chains apart. Drones closed in as Tavarak aimed another null beam. The convoy reached Mount Helios as night bled across the sky in shades of ruined red. A cold wind scraped over the broken highway leading into the mountains, and the stars looked weak behind smoke. What remained of Earth's atmosphere flickered faintly, scarred by orbital bombardments. Humanity was no longer a civilization. It was a memory trying not to vanish. The last evacuation port was hidden in the mountain under layers of rock and old military tech. It was never meant to be used. It was only built for a worst-case scenario that no one had believed would ever happen. That scenario was now called daily life. The moment the convoy reached the bunker doors, robotic turrets whirred to life and targeted weapons. Kale raised a hand to signal friendly approach, and a scanner drone floated out to verify survivors. The drone's camera zoomed over the group, but froze suddenly when it saw the Juggernaut. The drone tried scanning him but malfunctioned. The Juggernaut ignored it and walked straight in. The massive doors rumbled open like a stone beast waking from deep sleep. Rhea stepped through, exhausted, covered in grime and bruises. Her body ached, but her mind raced. Every minute with the Juggernaut made her more certain there was something wrong with time itself. He said the future would die if the aliens captured him. That was not just strange. It was disturbing. Inside the bunker hangar, hundreds of technicians and refugees scrambled around 3 giant starships braced for launch. They were blocky and worn from disuse, but still towered like iron leviathans across the chamber. Rust streaked their hulls and chunks of plating were missing, but they were still space-worthy, at least according to a dusty sign that said Certified Flight Ready. Flight Ready was debatable. Flight maybe existed in theory. Pix hovered by Rhea's shoulder and made a pessimistic dinging noise. The universe has truly given up on us. We will now board flying trash cans. We will die in a flying trash can. Rhea flicked him gently. Show enthusiasm. You are a morale unit. Pix sparked. You upgraded me into an emotionally unstable toaster. Kale began directing civilians to boarding ramps while soldiers ran supply crates aboard. He glanced at Juggernaut, who stood motionless at the far end of the hangar, watching everything quietly like a silent war statue. Kale marched over to him. The Zorvath will not take long to find this place. We launch within the hour. I need to know what you know. Juggernaut spoke without looking at him. Launch now. You do not have an hour. Rhea joined them. You want us to launch now with 3 ships half-fueled and navigation, not even calibrated. Kale stared him down. Tell me what is coming. Juggernaut turned slowly. Tavarak is a hunter. Zixer is a conqueror. But the one who commands them both does not take prisoners. He eliminates timelines. Rhea and Kale exchanged confused looks. That does not make sense, Kale said. Juggernaut walked toward the armory access door. It will. When you are dead. He vanished into the shadows of the lower deck without another word. Kale clenched his jaw. That thing is a problem. He saved us twice, Rhea said, and refuses to explain why the Zorvath treat him like a myth instead of a target, Kale replied. Saving us and using us are two very different things. Rhea watched him disappear into the darkness. She could not deny the truth. The Juggernaut was hiding something so dangerous he would rather fight an army than speak it aloud. In the armory, Juggernaut accessed a control panel by touching it. Not tapping. Touching. The panel obeyed him even though it was not biometric coded for him. Something unlocked inside the wall, revealing a hidden chamber beneath. Juggernaut stepped inside alone. There was a pod chamber with an inactive device floating inside a magnetic field. It was shaped like a cube made of hundreds of shifting metal fragments. A memory vault. Rhea stepped out from behind a pillar near the chamber entrance. Thought I would follow you just in case you were planning to murder us in our sleep. Juggernaut did not even turn. You should not be here. Rhea ignored him and stepped closer to the vault. She studied the shifting cube of metal. What is that, some kind of tech storage? He replied quietly. A memory key. It holds the only map left. A map to what? He hesitated. To the place they fear. The place they will destroy the galaxy to find first. Buried data will die without this key. Rhea moved closer. And who exactly hid this key? Juggernaut was silent again until he finally said just two words. I did. Rhea stared at him stunned. You built this, you hid this key, but then why do you not remember anything about your past? His visor flickered slightly. Because I erased it. The vault cubes began aligning and the magnetic hum deepened. A hologram flickered to life in the chamber, showing a star chart. Rhea stepped closer and zoomed in. Her breath caught. That cannot be right. That is not just a map. That is a course through deep space wormfield clusters we cannot even navigate. This chart shows paths that do not exist. Pix whirred nervously. Correction. They do exist. We simply cannot survive them. Juggernaut stepped forward. They are not wormfields. They are fracture lines. The chart shows cracks in spacetime that connect realities. Rhea stumbled back. Realities? Are you saying parallel worlds exist? Pix beeped in anger. I do not have enough memory to panic correctly about this. Juggernaut continued. The Zorvath are not conquerors of planet. They are conquerors of realities. And they want the vault because without it no one can reach the core. Rhea narrowed her eyes. The core of what? Juggernaut finally answered. The core of time. Before Rhea could respond, Kale stormed into the chamber with two soldiers. Weapons ready, he pointed at Juggernaut. Step away from whatever that is. Right now. Juggernaut did not move. Rhea raised her hands. Kale, wait, he is explaining. Kale cut her off. He is dangerous. There are children on this ship. I will not gamble their lives on a stranger. Juggernaut turned toward Kale, and the temperature in the room felt colder. I am not your enemy. Kale kept his gun raised. Maybe. But right now you are not a friend. The ground shook suddenly with concussive force. The alarm blared. The hangar doors above trembled. The Zorvath had found them. Kale swore. They are here already. Rhea bolted for the exit. They must have tracked us. Kale ordered. Everyone to ships. Launch protocol now. They raced to the hangar. The ceiling blasted open as Zorvath drop ships descended. Plasma cannons fired and sent molten debris raining over the survivors. Screams erupted. Kale shepherded civilians into launch tunnels. Rhea saw a massive engine explode. Pix spiraled through the air, screeching digital terror. The Juggernaut moved like lightning, crushing an incoming war drone into scrap. Rhea sprinted towards Starship One when suddenly she heard a distant voice shout from across the hangar. Rhea spun around. A tall, cloaked figure stood in the far corridor waving. Space was supposed to bring peace after escape. Instead it brought silence, and silence was sometimes worse. Silence gave the mind room to think. Room to wonder what had been lost. 3 evacuation starships drifted in formation across the void, leaving Earth behind like a scar fading in the dark. The survivors on board did not sleep. They did not talk much. They simply waited for the next disaster, because survival had become a chain of disasters loosely connected by moments of exhaustion. Rhea stood at the viewport of Starship One watching fragments of Earth's shattered moon drift across space. Her reflection in the glass looked older somehow. Maybe war had stolen whatever youth had been left in her face. Maybe she had become someone else entirely. Behind her, Pix hovered crookedly, sparks occasionally shooting from his joints. If I had known the apocalypse meant no charging stations, I would have self-destructed weeks ago. Rhea smirked faintly. Relax, Bucket. I will fix you when I find tools. Pix buzzed moodily. Your idea of fixing is hitting things until they work. It is barbaric, yet statistically effective, Rhea said. The door hissed open and Commander Cale Draven stepped in. He carried that constant weight in his posture, that silent oath to protect what little remained of humanity. We are approaching Luna debris zone, he said. Once we cross it, we hit deep space. After that, if the Juggernaut is wrong, we will be lost forever. Rhea turned. You do not trust him. Cale stood beside her at the window. Trust is a luxury from a world that no longer exists. I have doubts. Doubts he is on our side. Doubts he is even human. But he is still alive, and that matters to me right now. Because only dangerous people survive this long in war. And if he survives, we might too. Before she could answer, the ship shook with turbulence. Warning sirens howled. Cale and Rhea raced to the command deck. Helmsman Arden shouted from navigation. Gravity rift ahead, we are being pulled. Rhea stared at the swirling mass outside the window. It was not a normal space distortion. It looked alive, pulsing like a heart built from darkness and blue light. Cale ordered evasive thrusters. Full reverse burn. Engines flared, but the ship was dragged in deeper. Then Juggernaut's voice echoed through comms. Do not resist. That is the fracture line. It will not destroy us. It will move us. Cale snarled into comms. Move us, where the answer came too late as space folded inward like tearing cloth and the ship slipped into a tunnel of distorted starlight. The stars around them appear as streaks drawn in spirals, as if the universe had been twisted into a spiral storm. Rhea steadied herself. Is this faster than light travel? Arden shook his head. No. This is something else. Then he stared at the readings and whispered. We are outside navigational reality. The ship burst out of the fracture into stillness. Quiet. No stars. Just a vast, empty blackness and a single structure suspended above a dead planet. A forgotten research station. Cale leaned forward. What is that? Juggernaut answered through the comm. Luna Outpost 13. Built and abandoned over 60 years ago. Rhea frowned. Luna Outpost 13 never existed. That is not in any archive. Juggernaut responded. It was erased. Landing on the outpost felt like entering a tomb. The halls were silent and frozen with dust. Old banners of Earth's lost fleets hung shredded along cracked walls. Rhea ran a hand along a control console. Everything here is decades beyond our tech level. How does nobody know about this? Cale looked around with growing unease. Because somebody wanted it buried. They reached the main hub chamber where a massive chamber door sealed with reinforced locks pulsed faint blue. Juggernaut stopped before it. Inside. He placed his hand on the door. Symbols lit up in response. The door slid open slowly, releasing a cold gust of air. What they saw inside froze everyone in shock. Rows of stasis pods lined the chamber. Human pods. Hundreds of them. Frozen soldiers and scientists wearing gear with symbols Rhea had never seen before. Pix scanned one. Armor signature unregistered. Composition alloy unknown. Age estimate inaccurate by thousands of years. Rhea stared. That is not possible. Humanity has not been spacefaring for thousands of years. Cale turned sharply to Juggernaut. Explain this now. Juggernaut was silent for a moment. Then he revealed something he had never said before. They are not from your past. They are from your future. Cale bristled. Do not speak in riddles. Juggernaut motioned to the pods. These people come from a dying timeline. They came back to stop it. But they failed. Rhea shook her head. This is impossible. Time travel. This is not a war. It is a collapse. Juggernaut turned slowly. The Zorvath are not invading. They are cleansing. Removing timelines that resist their master. Kale narrowed his eyes. And their master is who? Juggernaut answered, a single name. Kronvok. The name echoed cold. Nobody knew it, but somehow everyone felt dread hearing it. Kale asked, why is he doing this? Juggernaut replied. Because he wants the core. If he controls it, time dies. Only one timeline will survive his rule. His own. As they processed that new horror, a soft clapping echoed from above. A slow, sarcastic rhythm that made blood crawl. Figures stepped from the shadows of the upper balcony. Hunters. Bounty enforcers. All heavily armed and wearing masked visors. At their center stood a woman draped in crimson with silver eyes that glowed faintly. Her smile was wicked and amused. Finally we meet, she purred. Kale raised his rifle. Identify yourself. She bowed mockingly. I am Lady Vexy, Shadow Broker of the Red Veil, collector of impossible things, and today I am here for something impossible. The Juggernaut. Juggernaut moved forward, but she raised a single finger. Her hunters aimed plasma disruptors. Vex's voice was smooth. I am not here to kill you. I am here to offer a deal. The galaxy wants you dead. I do not. I want to know why the most powerful warlords in existence are terrified of you. Juggernaut did not respond. Vexy smirked. Silent type. Mysterious. Brooding. Fine by me. I did a little digging once I heard you were alive. You know what I found? Nothing. Your existence was erased from history across multiple timelines. That only happens to those who break the universe. Kale stepped beside Juggernaut. If you are here for him, you go through us. Vexy laughed. Brave. But stupid. I said I am not here to kill anyone. At least not today. The offer is simple. I help you outrun Kronvox's hunters, and in return you give me a look at what is inside your memory vault. The vault that only opens to you. Rhea felt her heart spike. No. Absolutely not. We do not even trust you. Vex's eyes glimmered. You do not have a choice, little engineer. Kronvox's fleet has already entered your timeline, and their first stop is outside this station right now. Alarms blared again. The ground shook. Vexy grinned. Now decide quickly. Ally or enemy? The Juggernaut finally spoke. Your allegiance is temporary. Vexy smiled wider. The best kind. Chaos erupted as explosions tore through the station. They ran for the ship together. Kale glared at Vexy. Betray us and I will end you. She winked. Try not to die before we even get started. As Rhea ran behind Juggernaut, she felt something had changed. A new danger had arrived and a betrayal was coming. But she did not yet know who would break first. The war had moved beyond survival now. The real game had begun. There are moments in war when time slows down, when the world becomes nothing but noise and broken light. That was how it felt when the starship was ripped out of fracture space and dragged like a wounded animal into the colossal war flagship of Zixer the Devourer. Gravity collapsed around them. Metal screamed. Emergency alarms blared across every deck. Then came the white flash. And then came darkness. Rhea woke on a cold metal floor, ears ringing, head pounding. She tasted blood and smoke. The air smelled like burning circuits and ozone. Somewhere nearby, a pipe hissed steam. She forced herself up and looked around. She was inside a containment chamber. Reinforced glass sealed off the room. Arctic lighting glowed from above, and shadows loomed behind cracked walls. A dozen figures were trapped in the chamber with her, some soldiers, a few engineers, and survivors from the convoy. Kale was there, kneeling and breathing heavily but conscious. Vexy sat against a wall looking annoyed, not afraid. Pix was trying to hack a control panel but mostly just making angry electronic burp. But one person was missing. Rhea looked around in panic. The Juggernaut. He was gone. Kale pushed himself to his feet and took stock of their situation. Everyone check in. Anyone badly hurt? One soldier had a broken arm. Another limped from a plasma burn. But everyone was alive. For now. Kale moved to the glass wall and looked outside into the massive alien corridor. Judging from scale alone, he muttered, "We are aboard the flagship." Pix twitched. Correction. Zixer the Devourer's flagship. The biggest war dreadnought in the Zorvath Dominion. And also statistically the worst possible place for us to be. I could have guessed that, Rhea muttered. Vexi finally spoke. They did not kill us. They captured us. That means we are leverage. Which also means they want someone specific alive. Her silver eyes met Rhea's. Or something. And that someone, they all knew, was the Juggernaut. Rhea slammed her fist against the glass. We have to find him. He saved us. Twice. Kale turned sharply. He will save himself. Our first job is to stay alive. Rhea glared. You are still not over your trust issues. He is not the threat here. Kale stepped closer. Until I know what he is, everyone is a possible threat. Before Rhea could argue back, a deep grinding noise echoed through the walls. Metal bolts twisted open and the chamber door rose. Zorvath enforcer guards marched in with charged plasma halberd. Their armor was jagged and alive with pulsing energy. Behind them came a figure in a powder-white cloak. Not Zixer. Not Tavarak. Someone worse. Tall. Elegant. Cold. His eyes glowed silver like two moons. He walked like a god wearing flesh. Kronvok. The room fell silent without him saying a word. Even the Zorvath guards avoided looking directly at him. His presence made the air heavy. He studied each face as if he already knew everything about them. Rhea felt something tear inside her mind as his eyes met hers, like he was looking through her. Then he spoke. His voice was calm but carried weight like thunder disguised as silk. Where is the Juggernaut? Kale stepped forward. We do not know. Kronvox raised a hand and soldiers struck Kale with a shock spear. He fell to one knee, gasping but refusing to cry out. Kronvox turned to Rhea. Where is he? Rhea looked at him. She felt fear, but she refused to show it. Why do you want him? Kronvox did not blink. Because he belongs to me. Vexi laughed once sharply. He does not belong to anyone. Kronvox flicked a finger and Vexi vanished mid-sentence in a spiral of red energy. Rhea gasped. Kale reached for his weapon, but two guards restrained him. Rhea shouted. What did you do with her? Kronvox replied. She is fine. For now. I returned her to the place she fears most. Herself. He approached Rhea again. You do not understand your place in this. You are not warriors. You are not heroes. You are remnants of a broken world. Every timeline I have touched falls. Your turn came long ago. Your deaths are delayed only by my curiosity. Rhea snapped. Why destroy realities? You could conquer them. You could rule them. Why erase them? Kronvox watched her the way one might watch a flame struggling to stay alive in the rain. Because time is impure. Infinite realities breed infinite defiance. But when there is only one, defiance has nowhere left to hide. His tone hardened. The Juggernaut was created to guard the core. He betrayed his purpose. He took something from me. Something that belonged to a god. Rhea asked what did he take? Kronvox answered everything. He gestured and the walls melted into a viewing screen. The containment chamber transformed around them. They were now inside an observation hall. On the other side of a massive energy barrier, chained to an arc reactor pillar, was the Juggernaut. His armor cracked and sparking. His visor flickered. He was breathing heavily, not from pain but from restraint. Thick binding chains covered in runes held him down like the weight of planets. Rhea hit the glass. No, they will kill him. But they did not. They had something worse in mind. A control platform rose from the floor. Liquid metal formed a massive sphere behind it full of swirling red and black light. Kronvox stepped onto the platform. This is a temporal extractor. It separates truth from memory. Since he will not speak, I will tear the answers from him. Kale shouted. You do that and you might kill him. Kronvox replied slowly. Yes. That is the idea. He activated the machine. The Juggernaut roared as tendrils of red energy pierced through his armor and into his body, pulling fragments of memories out like shards of glass. Images burst into the air above them. War. A burning world. 2 moons falling from the sky. Armies of machines. A younger version of the Juggernaut unmasked, surrounded by allies who trusted him. A woman reaching for him before vanishing into dust. A hand pressed against a cracked barrier of time. A promise. A betrayal. And a face. Rhea gasped. That was her face. Cale stared. What is going on? Rhea whispered. That cannot be me. That was not me. Kronvox shut off the extraction. He looked at Rhea with chilling clarity. It is not you. Not yet. That is your echo. Your future. A timeline where you stood beside the Juggernaut. Before you died. Rhea backed away trembling. No, I do not know him. Kronvox tilted his head. Perhaps not yet. But everything that has happened so far has happened before. The cycle repeats until I break it. Cale clenched his fist. Let him go. Fight us like soldiers. This machine is torture. Kronvox stared at him. Torture is for mortals. This is purpose. He turned back to the Juggernaut. You tried to defy the timeline. You hid the vault before I could seize it. You erased your memories so you could not betray yourself under interrogation. You freed her. But in doing so you sealed her fate. Rhea yelled. Stop this! What did he do? Why do you want the vault so badly? Kronvox answered. Because inside the vault lies the path to the core. The heart of existence. The source that created time. With it I will end eternity. Then Kronvox turned to Rhea again, and this time he smiled. And you, Rhea Solara, you are the reason he failed. The stars burned like dying embers around them as Vexi's stolen strike ship hurtled through fractured space. The hull groaned, the engines screamed, and the void twisted outside the windows like a broken mirror. Inside, the survivors were barely standing. Cale was wounded and bleeding from the shoulder. Vexi was locked at the helm, piloting with sharp, focused fury. Pix was sparking from overworked circuits and muttering random error code. And the Juggernaut, armor shattered and face now visible beneath a cracked visor, sat motionless at the rear of the vessel. His eyes were human. His expression was not. He was a storm trapped inside a man. Rhea sat closest to him, trying to understand what she had seen in Kronvox's reactor chamber. The memory extraction had revealed a face that looked just like hers, but older, harder, and full of fire. A future version of her fighting beside Juggernaut. And dying. Her voice was low as she spoke. Who am I to you? Juggernaut did not answer immediately. His gaze was locked on the floor as if trying to remember something he swore he had buried. Finally he spoke. In another timeline, you saved me. In another timeline, I failed you. Rhea felt her heart twist. That is not an answer. Juggernaut lifted his head. His voice was edged with grief. The truth is a prison. Knowing it only binds your fate tighter. Cale approached and stopped a few steps away. Then let us break fate. Tell us everything so we can fight. Who are you really? Juggernaut closed his eyes. My name is Orion. I was once commander of Chrono Division, protectors of the core. We were guardians of time itself. Cale frowned. So you were like temporal soldiers? Orion shook his head. More like custodians of reality. When Kronvox attacked, we fought back. We could not defeat him. He destroyed our timeline. But before he ended us, we used the last fragment of the core to escape into the fractures. We erased ourselves, scattered our echoes among timelines hoping one version of reality would survive. Rhea leaned closer, voice trembling. Echoes? You mean other versions of people? Orion nodded. The version of you I knew fought beside me. She found hope when I had lost it. And then I lost her. He turned to her, eyes haunted. She died fighting Kronvox so I could escape with the memory vault. When I hid the vault, I erased my memories so Kronvox could never find it even if he captured me. Cale folded his arms. If the vault leads to Kronvox's weakness, Why erase the journey? Orion replied, because I am also a threat. The core forged me. If Crone Vox captures me long enough, he can force the vault open through me. Rhea stared into his eyes. Then why keep going? Why still fight? Orion whispered, because somewhere across the timelines, she told me something before she died. She said no future is sealed as long as someone remains who defies it. Rhea felt a strange ache inside her chest, like a memory she did not have was trying to surface. And now Crone Vox is hunting us both, she said quietly. Orion nodded. Because he fears us. He fears anyone who refuses to surrender to inevitability. Suddenly the ship shuddered violently. Kale looked toward the cockpit. What now? Vexi snarled from the helm. He found us. A massive distortion tore open space ahead of them. A colossal serpent shape emerged from the fold, ancient and monstrous, scales made of black nebula and eyes glowing like collapsing suns. Its roar shook the stars. Pix screamed. Cosmic Leviathan detected. 0% survival probability. Kale grabbed the console. Crone Vox unleashed a Leviathan on us. Rhea braced herself. What is a Leviathan? Pix twitched. Primordial life form. Older than the universe. Eats realities for breakfast. Bad. The Leviathan lunged and wrapped around their ship. Metal screamed as cosmic energy crushed the hull. Rhea was thrown to the deck. Orion staggered but stood firm. Vexi yelled from the helm. It is pulling us into its core. If it consumes us, we are erased from existence. Kale yelled to Orion. You said Crone Vox wants you alive. Why send that? Orion answered, because he does not need me alive anymore. He extracted enough memories to find the vault without me. We are no longer required. The ship hull cracked. Systems died. Gravity collapsed. Cosmic fire poured into the cabin. Death was seconds away. Until Rhea looked at Orion, and something inside her snapped awake. She grabbed his shoulders. If the vault is the only way to stop him, then we go there now. Orion stared at her. The vault is locked in a fracture hidden by paradox. Only one path leads to it. And it demands a price. Rhea stepped closer. Then we pay it. Orion hesitated, torn between logic and something deeper. Then he reached into his armor and pulled out a small cube of shifting metal. The memory key. He slammed it into the floor. Fracture energy surged upward, splitting open the ship with light. He grabbed Kale and Rhea and Pix. Hold on. Rhea shouted. What about Vexi? Vexi grinned and sprinted into the beam. Do not worry. I never miss a good apocalypse. The beam ripped them out of existence just as the Leviathan crushed the ship. Space folded. Time cracked. Reality vanished. They landed on a silent world orbiting a dying star. The ground was cracked and glass-like. The sky burned silver. Mountains floated like islands, and in the distance stood a colossal monolith pulsing with energy older than creation. Orion whispered. The vault. As they approached, the air thickened with power. Kale pushed forward. Open it, Orion. Unlock the weapon that can stop Crone Vox. Orion placed a hand on the vault. This is not a weapon, he said. Then what is it? Rhea asked. Orion looked up at the swirling core above them. Hope. The vault opened like a blooming flower of metal and energy. Inside was a sphere of pure light, radiating warmth and life. It hummed with the rhythm of a heartbeat. Kale shielded his eyes. What is it? Orion answered. The last fragment of the core. The power to reshape time. Rhea stepped inside the vault. This is how we stop Crone Vox. We rewrite reality back the way it was. Orion stopped her. No. That is what Crone Vox wants to do. Force one timeline to erase all others. The core cannot be used to rule fate. Only to give it back. Kale asked how Orion placed his hand over the sphere. By doing what Crone Vox never could. By letting go. The vault pulsed. A path of energy extended to Rhea. Orion looked at her. The core responds to one thing. Sacrifice. A choice must be made. That is the price of changing fate. Reality trembled around them as Crone Vox burst into existence outside the vault, roaring with cosmic rage. He stormed toward them. Enough. It ends now. The vault shook. Orion looked at Rhea, eyes burning. I will hold him. You reshape the fracture. Restore what was lost. Rhea shook her head. No. We do this together. Orion smiled faintly. In every timeline you always say that. Then he stepped between her and Crone Vox and unleashed everything within him. The sky split apart. Crone Vox struck. Orion fell but did not stop. Rhea reached for the core, felt its warmth flood her soul, and made her choice. Not to restore one timeline. Not to erase others. But to give all life a chance again. The core exploded with creation. Light shattered the